Hello and welcome to the Autistic Witch. My name is Claire and I'm your host on this video. So I've been making a series of videos about both being autistic and being a practicing witch, and I hope people find these useful. Today I wish to talk about the changing of the wheel, or in traditional terms, the seasons. This is known as Samhain. So we are now approaching that change. It's traditionally also known as Halloween or All Hallows. And yeah, I wanted to talk a bit about that, but also there's been a lot of activity going on, and it's really affected my energy. So yesterday was the peak of our full moon, and also we had a partial lunar eclipse. And I was doing a bit of research around how that affects your energy and how it can affect your sleep. So it turns out that this can absolutely zap your energy and can also be really disruptive. And being an autistic person, my sleep can get disrupted quite easily. And that can happen at any point. It doesn't need to be a full moon. But I think when there's a full moon happening and lots of celestial activity, it tends to interfere with me much more. So I found myself lying awake last night, really struggling and thinking, okay, I couldn't see the full moon. It was too cloudy. We instead had very heavy rain, had a little very, very wet, soggy moggy that came in this morning. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see anything, but I definitely felt its power. Even though it was behind the clouds, you could definitely feel energetically something was happening. Also, I've noticed I've been really just super sensitive recently as well. So I like yesterday, I found myself venturing into a supermarket. Now, this isn't something that I usually do. I usually like to order my food in, but I only needed a couple of items. You have to spend a certain amount of money for them to deliver it. It just was, I just thought, let's just try. Get through the door, buy what I need to buy, and then leave as quickly as possible. But I found it really overwhelming. The moment I stepped through the door, the light was like hitting me and the noise. I was like, oh, this is like so awful. And it just reminded me why I don't go to supermarkets. It was like really overwhelming. Anyway, I managed to buy what I needed to buy and get out as quickly as possible. But it did just highlight to me that I am feeling that little bit extra sensitive, and I suspect it's because of all of this energy that's happening at this time. So last night, whilst lying awake, I did a little bit of communication with the Rowan Tree, which at the back of my garden, it's actually in my neighbour's garden, the actual tree, but the tree overhangs much of my garden. And though we're separated by a fence, you know, the tree is really a very powerful presence. And I can see it through my bedroom window. So since I couldn't sleep, I was looking out through the window at Rowan. And this Rowan tree has become quite a powerful spirit and has been calling to me from the day I moved in, really. But it's really been quite a powerful presence. And I thought I would talk a little bit about my relationship with rowan as well. So I have two native species trees which back onto my garden. The other one is hawthorn, and the hawthorn also often communicates with me. And in fact, recently my neighbour trimmed it back, and in it, I swear I could almost hear the tree kind of screaming. It was a bit, you know, I felt sorry for the tree. And being a sensitive soul, I was like, oh no. Anyway, so the tree's been trimmed. But anyway, back to the rowan tree. So last year, one of the things that I did, which was probably about this time of year, was rowan had shed one of its branches and had actually these branches had been laying quite close to where the tree was, and I'd asked the tree for permission to use this branch to make my own wand. So I'd actually, this is my wand. It's actually, it's a bit sort of homemade, but you know, does the job. It's, I feel it's a very powerful tool. So this is from the rowan tree, one of the branches. I've also embellished it a bit. What I've done is I've actually used the chakra system on the main stem of the wand, and I've used wire to attach them, and I've also glued in a few crystals as well. Yeah, it's probably not the most environmentally friendly way of doing it, but you know, I made something that is pretty, and I wanted it to, because it's been made by me, it's got a lot of my energy in it, which again, you know, when using tools, I like to, if possible, make my own rather than buy them, because I do feel they have a lot more of your own personal energy, and they have that energetic connection with you and what your intention is for this. So anyway, this the rowan is also known as the mountain ash tree. It has these little beautiful red berries on it, which apparently also have the pentagon inside them. So I've not actually cut into one to find that out, but you know, I was hunting for, I have a book written by Glynis Kindred, and I love her writing. She writes a lot about hedge witchcraft and the ancient native trees and that sort of thing, and using the you know, foraging. I love all that. Anyway, I couldn't actually find it, which was quite annoying, because I know within the book that I have, it talks about rowan, its magical uses, and it also talks about what its properties are. Couldn't find it anyway. So I know that this is a very protective tree. It's also a tree of empowerment too, which for me has been very important, because you know, I have had to spend a lot of time rebuilding my confidence and understanding my own personal power. So yeah, it's a very important, powerful tree. So in communication with rowan, with my wand, I decided to think about what it was that I wanted to do as Samhain approaches and with all of this activity. So last night I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about making this video, and I was thinking about what it was that I wanted to release and what kind of energy I wanted to draw to me, and what sort of ritual I wanted to create. So what I wanted to do was to give you a little insight into that process, because as I say, as I've said before in videos, I don't tend to use pre-written spells or remember the words to spells. It's a very instinctive process, so it's much more I would go into meditation, communicate with spirit guides, or in this case the spirit of the Rowan Tree, and think about what it was that I wanted to do, and where my intention was. So this is where we are. So this is what I was thinking about. So my intention is to stop giving away my power to other people. And I think this is really important for me, because what I do is this is again links to toxic positivity. This is something that I get sucked into, other people's approval. So I'm constantly like, I have to put out this version of me in order to get other people to approve of me. And I question that. I'm like, what about me approving of myself? You know, and this being a much deeper sort of self-confidence and self-esteem from within, rather than something that I garner from the outside and people telling me what they think. So yes, what I'd like to do is to stop giving away all of my power and to stop allowing other people to affect the way I feel about myself, you know? So why do I need other people's approval in order for me to approve of me, you know? So that's what I'd like to do. That's what I would like to release. What I would like to gain is just that depth of self-confidence and that sovereignty, that feeling of I have sovereignty over my energy, over my confidence, over my just that deeper energetic connection within that does not need other people's approval. So they're kind of two sides of the same coin. I know what I want to release, I know what I want to gain. So what I wanted to do was to talk about how I intend to do this. So my intention is to go outside, to connect with my Rowan, to ask the Rowan to help protect my energy, to ask it to help me empower myself, to connect with the moon and the full moon energy, and to connect with that releasing of this feeling of how I need other people's approval and how I give all of my power away to other people, and to try and stop doing that, basically, to try to help myself gain this, I suppose, empower myself so I can become a more confident person that's not being constantly sort of battered by other people's thoughts, opinions, views, and so on. So that's my intention, and what I've been doing last night. I'm thinking about it, thinking it through, thinking about the sorts of things that I want to bring. I may include some crystals. I don't know at this point. I've been doing my tarot readings as well. My tarot readings have been really interesting. They've really been pointing to a massive change for me, releasing the past, releasing old trauma, and been pointing to this you know, bright future basically, which is kind of, it's good, but it's also, it makes me feel a little unsettled sometimes, because I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. And I think, you know, that's the autistic part of me that's going, I need to know what's going to happen. I need to control it all. And if I can't control it all, it feels really scary and abstract and difficult. So anyway, you know, again, this is part of learning to let go, learning to allow the universe to bring to me everything that I need, which, you know, in practice is a hard thing to do. But anyway, so I do hope you've enjoyed watching my videos and my little rant about not being able to sleep, about, you know, struggling with the moon energy, but also about how I'm connecting to the things around me, you know, the Rowan Tree, the hawthorn, and how I use them in my own practice. So I do hope that you found this useful. If you have, please comment, like and subscribe, you know, it would be lovely to hear back from you. And thank you very much for watching from the Autistic Witch.